Good to see you too. Hey.
This is Jason.
Did you meet him at the career fair too?
I don't think so.
Okay. He was behind the table.
Oh.
As we kind of kept him back there because he smelled bad, so just didn't let him talk to people too much. Did you get done with your first class?
No, I have my first class after this.
This is 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got her. I'm trying to locate an app right now for the handshake system they're
Oh,
using.
yes. Okay.
And they, that thing's been so helpful this year, but I'm like, if they have an app for it, it's going to make my life even easier reaching out to students. Handshake.
Just wanted to get my information a little updated on there.
Yeah, because you probably used BuckyNet previously?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all the business school students, they have to go on there and, like, create accounts and
Yes.
all that stuff? Okay. I'm trying to remember, are you already in the business school?
Yeah.
Were you direct admin, or did you apply and get in
I
later?
applied my freshman year, and then I got in for my sophomore year.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was great.
Because you're in, like, everything. I remember you told me you were in 4 different orgs when we talked. Do you have, like, free time ever, or?
No.
No, okay. Why'd you get involved in so many, or why'd you pick the ones that you got into?
Well, I joined the business ones freshman year and the sorority. And I guess I just kept getting more involved with each one. When I do something, I like to commit to it.
Okay.
So it's a little extreme this semester, but like my treasurer position is ending after the semester, and I'm actually going abroad for the spring, so I won't be slating again. I think it's going to kind of start to even itself out a little bit.
That'll be nice.
It's been a busy semester for sure.
Believe it. What so you pick, I guess I don't even know how the process works with it being such a bigger campus for Greek life.
Yeah.
I told you I did Greek life in college, but we had, I think, 6 fraternities and 6 sororities at my school.
Okay.
So it was tiny. I went to Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah, my cousin goes there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you from Minnesota, or are they?
No, he's from Minnesota. He's from Shakopee, but I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Okay. Waukesha.
It is 2/3 of the way from here to Milwaukee.
Got it. So that's the opposite direction from where you're from, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Where are you from?
Do you know Marshfield or Wausau?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's I'm still getting bearing. I've lived here for 3 years, and I still feel confused about most of the cities in Wisconsin. We have a student work with from Niagara, so that's like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I dated a girl from Marion, Wisconsin, so I know that and Shawano, Tigerton, cities nobody else actually cares about.
It's Wisconsin geography can be tricky. Like I've been here my whole life, and I'm still like that town is somewhere.
Yeah. So why'd you end up picking UW for schools?
My parents went here and my grandparents went here.
Okay.
And I was kind of looking at it, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And so, in that sense, I wanted to go to a larger school that had a lot of different options.
Let's see if I can put shades down. I'm getting
You probably.
there's none.
Oh, there's one.
No, this is just a trap. Okay, sorry. Parents and grandparents.
And I liked Wisconsin because we're very good at a lot of different things. And so I thought that I could kind of come and figure out what I wanted to do and basically would have to end up somewhere good. And pretty early on at campus, I decided I wanted to go to business school. And I saw that we have really amazing marketing and finance programs.
Okay. Well, and you said you're studying abroad. Where are you going?
Norway, Oslo.
Why Norway? It seems so random.
I'm from Norway. Like, my grandparents are from Norway, and we have a family farm there, so I've always kind of been drawn to it in that way. It's also, it's another first world country. It's a very beautiful and wealthy country, but at the same time, they do have a pretty significantly different way of life. They lead very active lifestyles. They're super happy.
That's different.
Yeah.
They're happy.
I don't know. I just think it'll be interesting to kind of see that.
Okay.
I'm going to the Business Institute of Oslo, and it's generally renowned, which is what I was kind of looking for. You know, it's kind of hard to beat the Wisconsin School of Business going abroad if you don't want to pay $40,000 a semester, but I like the program.
Yeah. I mean, even the business school here is so highly rated in so many different realms. Like,
Yeah.
I think even last year, the stats, I was at an advisory board meeting the same day as the career fair, and it was, 85% of students got a job in their field within 6 months of graduating from the business school, which is unheard of. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
most programs, it's lucky if it's like 50%, that's awesome, and that's also why it's competitive as heck to get in. Like, the amount of kids who end up going human ecology because it's the closest thing to business if they can't get in the business school.
Oh, yeah. Most of my friends are over in human ecology now from freshman year.
Really? Who are, like, pursuing business? Well, they even, I talked to Jamie Marsh, who's the she's director of the career services, and she was saying that they're in a transitional phase right now between percentage of direct admin to the business school.
Yes.
Where it was like less than 50% to now I think it's 50%, and they're working towards getting it closer to 80 in the next couple of years.
Yeah, when I came in, I want to say it was like 10%. It was very low, and I didn't really look into that. But yeah.
It's which is good news for incoming freshmen, terrifying for kids who are already in school here and hoping to get in with that transition.
Yeah.
And she said they're changing that because Madison, even being the school it is, they still find they lose a lot of applicants who don't even apply to come in here if they can't get directly admitted to the business school because they're afraid that they might not get into it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people who didn't come here for that exact reason.
The standards
same thing
are
with the
pretty high.
nursing program too.
Nursing's that way too? Okay. You probably have a lot of sorority sisters who are in nursing as well.
Yeah, because the same too.
I was going to say, I met a lot of tri-delts here. None that I can remember specifically conversations with, but it seemed like there was a lot who were pursuing the medical field, and that was like a draw to being part of tri-delt.
It's a big one because we do provide internship opportunities at St. Jude.
Okay.
It's really cool. Yeah, I have a lot of sorority sisters who have gone and worked there and come back. I don't think that's necessarily in the cards for me as a business major, but I think it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So why'd you end up picking tri-delt out of all the sororities, or why'd you pick like Greek life as a whole?
Yeah, so no one from my town had ever gone Greek before.
Okay.
We send a lot of people here, but it's just, I don't know if it's not that big of a Midwestern thing or what, but it really wasn't on my radar when I arrived at college. But my roommate wanted to go through recruitment, and so she convinced me to go with her.
Is like, if you're recruited by someone, you're part of like that team. Out of that, the 4 years he recruited teams, he had the #1 team in the world twice and the #4 team twice. So he like never trained a team that did less than top 5. And just, it was crazy how, it was all mindset.
Yeah.
He had nothing special about him other than he was just
Has he
checked in.
been to Brazil? Maybe he needs to tap into that marketplace. Maybe that's where that should be leading him.
That would be cool if he made. Have you looked at any Proper Ground stuff recently? Is any of it in any languages other than English?
Not that I'm aware, no.
No. Okay. I haven't looked into any of it at all. It's not my type of music, but I support him because of knowing him.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you bring a notebook, Juliana, or something to write on?
I can grab one.
Okay.
Oh, you told me that, yeah.
Yes. So we can probably get rolling here. This week's all been pretty laid back as far as meetings. Jason's just going to kind of hang out through it, and actually, if you see his phone's at like a weird angle, he's videotaping me for this one.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to standardize our entire recruiting process and like streamline it. So they're having us record some of our presentations that we do on each campus so they can basically put them all into one. So
Okay.
I videotaped one yesterday and I completely forgot it was because I didn't even register that there was a camera on me the whole time. So I just figured I'd let you know that.
Oh.
I guess questions for you. I know I asked you on the phone yesterday. When you're looking at internships for the summer, what is your main goal with the summer? Like, what do you want to take away from the summer? Is there anything specific that you want to accomplish, or what do you want to see as a result from the summer?
Okay, I really want to gain experience and kind of help myself figure out where some of my professional strengths are and what I could kind of see myself doing. So I would like I mean, obviously, I would like a job where I get paid and do some work with that. But then I'd also like to job shadow professionals wherever I am.
Okay.
I guess those are kind of my two main goals. Is like build experience, but then also kind of start to figure out what I could see myself doing.
Okay. So experience as far as it sounds like hands-on, like things you can actually do
Yeah.
and learn a skill set, but also being able to see people in roles that you could potentially see yourself in, and then you want to do something where you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the same way. I paid for college out of pocket, so
Yeah.
that was one of the first things when I got asked that question. I actually, when I learned about Southwestern, how you came to the career fair and we met there, I had a friend who had done that in the fall up in Duluth as a freshman. He had gone to the career fair and got connected with Southwestern. He got recruited, I think it was November, and he told me about it and was like, congrats, good for you. I'm going to go work at B-Dubs and do construction this summer was my plan. And throughout his training, he actually stood out and they gave him an opportunity to recommend people in the spring. I was one of those people, so I went to a big informational meeting where there was about 15 people in like a conference room, and there was a guy with like a PowerPoint up at the front running the whole thing. So it was a lot less personal and a lot more like I was listening to a lecture. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I knew he told me it would be a lot of work, a lot of hours, and possibly relocating was what I knew. And so when I went to the meeting, they told me to try and compare this to my other options, and I heard everything from advantages to what a day in the job looks like, and then just got to meet some of the people in the program. And by the end of it, I totally thought that Southwestern sounded like a lot more of a long-term benefit than B-Dubs in construction. So I applied, went through a 3-day interview process, and now this is my 10th year with the company. And I get to oversee all of our recruiting in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So it's been an awesome fit for me. I always tell students, though, we're not always the best fit for everybody. I had a good friend of mine who was in the same meeting as me, who was recommended by Nate as well. He heard all the same details as me. And at the end of the meeting, he was just like, nah, this is not a good fit. Like, had ruled himself out pretty much because he didn't want to work as hard as he would have to work with our program to get what he wanted out of the summer. He wanted a more laid-back one. So we don't always appeal to everybody, but I also know we're not looking to work with everybody. Last year we interviewed about 800 students at Madison, selected 30, and about 15 of them actually got to work with us for the summer. This year we'll interview probably about 12 to 1,300, select like 50 or 60, and probably about 40 will get to work with us for the summer. So it's pretty selective just because of the rigor, and also that's why we can offer a lot of benefits from it too. So one thing I'd recommend before we start is just at the top of your paper, just to keep in mind, write down, if someone was to start tomorrow, what would you be doing? So like whatever that title is. If you have a job lined up or an internship, for me I just wrote Buffalo Wild Wings at the top of my paper. Like what do you have lined up if like someone was to start tomorrow?
I'd maybe be taking summer classes if I didn't have an internship.
Okay. Summer classes, work, or internship?
Yeah.
Nothing like a specific job, internship, or classes that you're looking at, just those would be your backup plans basically? Or work and school would be your backup plans to an internship?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. The reason I ask that of students too is it's just like, I would say as I go through details, compare this to your other options.
Okay.
And try and think to yourself which one's going to help you get to your long-term goals quicker. So that probably makes sense to pursue that one. And then I think, did I give you my card last time we met up too?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll have you write down the company website then. That way if you want to do some of your own research, you can. It's just southwesternadvantage.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I know when we talked, you said you didn't have a ton of background knowledge, right, on our program?
No.
Okay. So what I'll do is I've got this pretty well structured. I don't know. Is this showing on there, Jason? Like, can you see the... I just have to move that over so you can see the PowerPoint. But the way this is set up is I'll run you quick through just some like general background. That's pretty quick. Then I'll go over like advantages, like what students take away from our program. Hit on what a day in the job looks like. I'll tell you all the hard stuff about the job up front too. I'm like really straightforward with that. I personally had jobs in the past where there was stuff that I didn't like about it that I didn't find out until I was there. I'd rather just cover all the challenges right up front. And then I go through qualifications and like I said, by the end of this, you should have a pretty good gut feeling if it makes sense to pursue or not. And
Okay.
either way, you'll probably learn some stuff. I try and give tips on resume and job interviews and such too.
Definitely.
Cool?
Yes.
Sweet. So, general background, Southwestern Advantage, we've been around since 1855, and our internship started in 1868. So this last summer was our 150th year of our internship program. So, like, if that's all you knew about us, what would that tell you? That we've been around for 150
Something's
years.
working.
Yeah, we figured something out at this point. This has been kind of cool. Since we've been around for a while, we've had, what is it now, over 250,000 alumni.
Wow.
Yep. And last year we actually are on 300 different campuses in 20 different countries. Overall, there's about 40,000 students who were invited to meetings like this, and we had, I think it's just under 2,500 students who did our program. So it's pretty selective. It's also pretty challenging. And what's kind of cool is we've grown a lot. The the first year our company was around, they were just a publishing house. We were called Southwestern because they were the southwest most publishing company in the United States. And actually, at one point, every soldier in the Confederate Army had a Southwestern pocket Bible. Like, that's how we got our start. So, random history fact, there's, like, at our company, a little pocket Bible from the Civil War with a bullet in it. That must have, like, saved somebody's life or something. Since then, we've grown. We currently have 16 different sister companies in all different fields. And we're adding more and more. Our new CEO, his vision is to add a minimum of 5 sister companies a year for the next 30 years and to be the largest privately held company in the world by 2048 is what that would be. The current ones that we have Southwestern Investing, which is the top Raymond James branch in the world right now. They do personal wealth management. Southwestern Real Estate's based out of Chicago. They also have branches now in Nebraska, and there's new ones popping up all over the place wherever we have qualified people to run them. We started a personal, casualty and liability insurance this year is one of our new companies. Consulting, Great American does fundraising. Did you ever sell like cookie dough or wrapping paper for like school fundraisers? Chances are you worked with Great American. They're the biggest fundraising company in the nation. And then Thinking Ahead School. This is probably my favorite sister company to talk about. They are a headhunting firm. Yeah. So their job is to help us get jobs after college. Whether you do this for 1 year or a decade like me, they help people line up jobs with our sister company and outside of it. My younger brother worked with us one summer, and he's been working with Thinking Ahead and had 3 job offers straight out of college. One was with a sister company, and the other 2 were outside companies selling. One was scoreboards, and the other one was an insurance company that he's excited about, and he was a finance and banking major. Yeah, so that's kind of like the big picture. The part of the company that, the part of the company I work with is our internship portion, where if you want to write it down, the main emphasis of the internship is it's a sales and leadership internship. So, and that's why we can work with basically students in every field, is because there's going to be some sort of sale made no matter what you're doing, whether it's a product, a service, or an idea. And most people want to be in a role where they're leading people. So we're helping students develop those skill sets. That's why, like, Jason, actually, your major was, I get it wrong every time, comparative literature?
Cultural studies and comparative literature.
Dang, I got that one right this time. So we had that. Kate, who worked with, was international studies. Tanner was a management major. Haley's political science. Nicole, she's going to school to be a vet. Nate, one of the students I worked with last year, he wants to open his own marijuana shop when it becomes legal. Like, that's, we have people literally every direction
Really
you
banking on that.
every direction you could possibly go. And that's kind of why we focus on that too. And since then, like, we've been around for a while too, we actually have had a ton of alumni who've gone through our program and been pretty successful, like Marsha Blackburn. She is one of the first female congresswomen out of Tennessee. She's actually the first woman to complete a year of our internship too, like broke that gender barrier. She did 6 years with us. Ken Starr prosecuted Bill Clinton in the impeachment trial. Yeah, you remember that? Or remember learning about it?
Yeah, I wasn't alive.
God, I'm old.
Wait, no, I was. I was like 1. Okay.
Man, it's because I work on a college campus, I forget that I'm, like, significantly older than the people I talk to a lot. And I'm only 27, but it, like, that's still a lot older than a lot. Are you 20? 19?
Yes, almost 21.
Okay, cool. When's your birthday?
December.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
So you get to celebrate it with Christmas?
Yeah.
Fair enough. This is a cool one. Roger Newton. He worked with us for 2 years. He created the heart drug Lipitor. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
It's like the #1 cholesterol drug on the market, and then he's one of 6 self-made billionaires who's come through our program. He sold the rights to Lipitor to Pfizer. So I don't think he had, I forget what type of science he was in, but it wasn't even like a business field. So that's cool. Mac Anderson, he started Successories. They make those posters. Have you seen them before?
Yeah.
We actually just partnered with him to create a new company called Kindness, where companies can get kindness certified based off of how much money they donate, what they give back to their communities. So we've got, this is going to be like a national and international promotion that's going to be Southwestern sponsored kindness that companies are going to be like paying to get part of. So that's kind of cool, is work with nonprofit that way. Bill Fagerbach, he's the voice of Patrick on SpongeBob. And let me see, Larry Wilmore, he's a talk show comedian. I'm just flying through some of these. Oh, Emily Woods, this girl's sweet. She was in Forbes 30 under 30. Yeah, engineering major, and she now runs her own business in Africa, turning human waste into energy.
Wow.
Yeah, and she learned the skills that it took to run that business through working with us throughout her college career. And she said it was cool as an engineering major to have something totally different than everybody else she was applying against for future jobs. Oh, and Chip Gaines, HGTV.
Yeah.
Okay, he worked with us in college too. So it's kind of cool is our program, since we've been around for a while, I mentioned it's sales and leadership. And a lot of times when you talk to companies where they're like focused on sales, it's like the whole emphasis is how do we teach people to get really good at sales? How do we teach people to make a lot of money? The focus of our internship is developing people. We want to be the best organization in the world at helping young people develop skills and character to achieve their goals in life. So it's kind of cool is like my job, I literally just get to invest in people all the time. And I get to work within a company where it actually like cares about the people who are here. Like my personal growth is the #1 priority of my mentors and like where I go. And I think that's cool too. Is even here at Madison, we created a Madison vision between all of our leaders, and it's a little bit different from that. And we basically like this is our focus here at UW is like we want to set ourselves apart as the undergraduate experience, like give students an opportunity to basically crush belief barriers in life, help people elevate themselves to their potential to varsity, like instead of like a JV mentality, and create a career while in college. So a lot of our students actually get to create a career while they're in school with us, and whether that develops into a full-time career afterwards like myself, or if it's like a career before your main career is one of the things we do.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So I love it. I guess I think that's it for background. Yeah. Next, I'll just run you through our advantages. I can basically bullet point these because they're pretty self-explanatory, and a lot of them kind of fall into what you were looking for. So, first one, this one's pretty simple. Is it's money. It's a paid internship. Average student last year made about $800 a week over the summer. Some make more, some make less. The reason it has multiple monetary values on there is most of the students who work with us do this for more than 1 year in college. 5 years is pretty like the average between everybody, and the average student who does 5 years with us makes about $137,000.
If you work there for one summer, do you automatically get invited back, or no?
You have to earn it. Yep. So we had, out of the students from Madison last year, is probably about 3/4 of them had the opportunity to come back, and about 2/3 of them accepted. So you don't have to take it, but you also aren't guaranteed it. And a lot of what we look for in students, which I'll tell you at the end, is similar to what we're looking for in our leaders.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's a cool one. Along with this, like the multiple year, you get more responsibility every year you do this too. Obviously, when you get into like an entry-level position anywhere, it'd be hard to lead other people if you don't really know what you're doing yet. So the first summer, you're literally just responsible for yourself and leading others by example. And then if you get invited back for a second year, you actually get to help interview, train, and select students for the following year and mentor them. Yeah, which is fun. Like that was probably my favorite part of my undergrad career is I got to choose who I worked with over the summer and like give feedback. And if I didn't think someone would be a good fit, I told the other recruiters on campus and made the right choices on who we'd spend our time with. Next one, there's college credit. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can get 3 upper divisions for working with us. travel, since we're an international company, students have travel opportunities within the summer as well as the school year itself. During the summer, our students typically get to relocate and live in another part of the country for the summer. So you've done this 2 years now, Jason. Where did you live the last 2 summers?
The first summer was Lexington, Kentucky, and the second summer was Ithaca, New York.
Yep. So Kentucky to New York. I've done 8 states in the last 9 years over the summers. Yeah, which has been a really cool experience. Like being born and raised in Minnesota and going to school in Minnesota, going and living in Florida after my freshman year of college was a bit of a culture shock.
It's nice though that it's not like a full commitment, you know, if you're just going for kind of short periods of time.
Yeah, it's especially when you're looking at careers post-grad.
Yeah.
One of the girls I worked with, Stephanie Zebel, she works for Microsoft now. She does brand management and social media marketing as her role. And she said one of the reasons that Microsoft was willing to invest in her training and relocating is because she had already done it previously with us. And she said there's literally people who've started working with them, relocated, and they ended up quitting their job, not because of anything to do with the job, just because they had realized that the relocating was not something they could handle or didn't like. So that's actually, yeah, it's insane. So employers actually ask that in interviews now, is if you're willing to travel or relocate, and if you can give an example of it. So since you've gone to Brazil, that'll help out in future interviews. Going to Norway, that's going to help out too. Like anything you do for more than a week shows a lot of independence too.
Yeah.
So that's our summer, and then during the school year, actually about once a month, there's an opportunity for travel to another part of the country or world. So like I fly out to New Mexico on Saturday for sales manager training. In November, right before Thanksgiving, we have a trip to Mexico. That's like an incentive trip. Nebraska is in a couple weeks. Is that, yeah, exotic, I know, Nebraska. And then we go to Tennessee a couple times a year too, because that's where the international headquarters is at. So then you get to meet people from all around the world. Like I think I've got friends in every single state who I've met through Southwestern, including Hawaii and Alaska. So that's kind of cool. Did that click? Nope. There we go. Personal growth and leadership. I already kind of talked about the leadership, but because of our program being so challenging, one of the biggest things students tend to take away is just identifying their biggest strengths and getting to work on those, but also recognizing like some of their biggest weaknesses and where they can improve. Like I found out I'm decent at approaching people. Like I usually don't have a fear of, I can go talk to anybody. What I do have trouble with is being alone, or I used to have a huge one with that. My first summer when I'd have periods of time where I was just on my own and maybe I'd turn off my phone just to like disconnect. Like, wow, I use my phone as a crutch a ton, which is like a very normal thing. So it just helps you identify those and grow in any area that would make sense for you. Fifth one, the people. I mentioned this a handful of times. I bring it up over and over again. The people we attract are absolutely freaking incredible. I love the people we work with. And I definitely say the people I surround myself with would probably be in the top 1% of college students or recent grads for goals, drive, purpose, like what they're trying to accomplish. And also they become a lot of your best friends. I was at 6 weddings in the last year. I was in 5 of them and I officiated 2, and all 12 people did Southwestern. Like it's insane. Like 3 of the couples met through Southwestern, and the other 3 had one person in the relationship take so much away that they like pushed their significant other to do it for at least 1 year so they could learn and grow in the way they did. Even like my friend Alma and Joe, they're both landscape architect majors. Alma did this for 4 years. Joe quit his full-time job to do it for 1 year, and it actually helped him land a better career afterwards. So that's kind of sweet. And then last one, resume. I'd say experience kind of ties into that one too.
Yeah.
We definitely help students get an experience that's going to make you stand out. It's different. My buddy Jared interviewed for a job with the Air Force after college as an engineer, wanted to be a navigator, and he talked about Southwestern almost his entire interview and how the communication skills he developed would be helpful in being able to convey his technical knowledge into something I could understand. So that's cool. I mentioned the business school has like an 85% placement rate. We had a 90% placement rate for students who did 1 summer and 95% for students who did 2 years or more. So those would be the main advantages. Oh, this is sweet too. Go. Is that blurry at all, like with the dust on there? Or?
No, I can
Okay.
see it.
That's just from my angle then. With the resume and experience too, this is kind of cool. We a lot of our experience is tailored around to what employers are looking for, what it takes to be successful. This is an article of the top 20 skills and characteristics that employers are looking for right now, and only like 2 of them are technical skills.
Yeah.
Most of them are like who you are as a person, communication, work ethic. Does that surprise you at all, or does that make sense?
We've gone over it a lot in the business school, so I'm not super surprised, but it's always a good reminder.
Yeah, and what I feel like a lot of business students hear that, but there's other people, especially in technical fields, who are still surprised by that. Do they explain like why that companies are looking for soft skills more than technical skills?
I mean, they kind of talk about how wherever you end up is kind of going to train you on the job. What's really important is that you have the ability to take what you're given and run with it and commit to something, really give it your best, but also work with other people and like learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, shoot, you could be a financial advisor for Edward Jones or a financial advisor for Northwestern Mutual, and even though you have the same title, you probably have very different things that you do within each of those jobs.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad that you mentioned the commitment one too. That's like this generation as a whole is not known for being good at that.
Yeah.
Like we have the highest job turnover rate, and it's because people are like looking for instant gratification. Where like showing you can actually work through something is huge. I think that's probably also why Madison has such a high placement rate from the business school, because it's so challenging to get in the first place. That
Yeah,
students
well, and
usually
they
finish.
encourage us to commit to things, and
Yeah, do all of the things.
don't really commit to a sleep schedule, but okay.
Fair enough. I'm slowly getting to one of those myself, but that's how I was in college too. You can sleep when you're dead, I guess.
Yep, the last priority.
So that's kind of cool. And then these are just like some of the bullet points that are on students' resumes. So like for communication skills, our students talked about 3,000 people a summer.
Okay.
So average person takes about 7 years to do that. We do it 3 months. Like Haley, who I just wrote the letter of rec for, that's one of the big points I made, because she's going to be dealing with politicians and people in nonprofits, kind of like all walks of life, that she's going to need to connect with new people. That you ran your own business and you relocated are some of the big ones that employers look for from our students. And I guess as far as those advantages too, I always ask students this, but like which of those appeal to you the most? Or like what ones would be the most important for you to gain if you did get an opportunity like this for the summer?
Honestly, probably the personal growth and
Yeah.
leadership. I mean, I've had a lot of experience with leadership here on campus, but I like the idea of kind of a structured program that helps me learn how to I don't say like how to be successful, but how to put that to fruition, kind of get to that next step beyond what I've done here on campus.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I guess I never really thought about that as an undergrad, because you do learn a lot about yourself in school, but you don't
Yeah.
necessarily always have the support or like direction of like, well, what do I do with this newfound knowledge?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like a lot of students probably do this for multiple years, because after doing the first summer, you learn all this that you have to go practice it for a year of school and then go and do it one more summer and then move on from that too.
Yeah, and I'm sure it kind of builds confidence and helps you understand, where you're at and where you still need to get to.
Yeah, or it's like, man, I really didn't work on that as much as I should have. Okay. And it's kind of cool as far as what we do. So I said sales and leadership. What we sell, since we're college students, is we sell educational products.
Right.
It's anything from ACT, SAT prep, like, do you know Princeton Review? Okay, they make all of our ACT prep. McGraw-Hill, they
Yes.
make our AP study guides. National Geographic, we partnered with them for ebooks last year. I guess I talked to some kids about this at the career fair. Do you know why we sell educational products, or why we'd have college students do that of all people?
Because we can kind of speak from experience.
Hmm? Yeah, that's one of the two big reasons. Is you're literally at the point in your life where parents want to see their kids get to, so you have credibility. The other one is based off our mission statement, where it's about developing people. It's the easiest way to develop things like communication skills is talk about something you understand.
Yeah.
So if I told you you're going to go sell real estate this summer, it'd be a little bit more of a learning curve.
HGTV.
With this, it's like, well, I took my ACT. Some of us took AP classes. I learned my colors and numbers at one point. I hopefully still know those things.
Oh yeah, and I use books like this to teach my 7th graders. So
that's cool. Which school did you say you're at for that?
It's a private company, but I mostly work with Hamilton Middle School.
Okay. That's cool. And yeah, so that's a lot of our products go basically from newborns to high school seniors. And actually, give me a break from talking so much. I'm going to have Jason show you our lead product really quick. Just kind of give you an idea of how that works. It's a 4 to 6 volume reference set. This thing's really cool. This is a sample. It covers 1st grade through 12th grade in all the core subjects. And he'll just give you an idea of how it works. And after he explains it, I'll just ask you for some feedback. Like, do you think it's a good product? Obviously, if you're going to sell something, you should believe in it. The presentation he does doesn't seem very difficult to run through. Like, could you see yourself doing that? Yeah, those are basically the main ones. And I always tell students this on the front end. What Jason's done, he's done about 7,000 times already. His first time he ever did this probably didn't sound exactly like this one. Have you gotten a little bit better?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It's been a while since I practiced it.
I didn't tell him he was going to be demoing it. I just wanted to take a break from talking. And what he's actually going to run you through, too, is a memorized sales presentation that all of our students learn. It probably won't sound like one because he's done it so many times, but basically everything he hits on, I would also hit on. It would just sound very different because different personalities. So, yeah, I'll have you run through it, Jason, and then I'll take back over. I'm going to grab more water while you do that quick.
Okay, that sounds good. Cool. So yeah, like Jake was saying, this is our lead product. So this is the sample. There's actually 6 books in the full set, and the sample just takes pages from all the other books and puts them in one spot, so you can see how it works. And you don't have to carry around like 6 giant books all the time. So they're all this size. They look just like this. The honor one is the one that covers all the AP classes. So it's the most commonly taken tests, and it comes with practice tests too. Topic source goes through research papers, and then these 4 are what we call the core 4. So the 2 math books cover like literally every math subject from basic addition, 1 plus 1, all the way up through calculus. The science covers biochem, earth science, space science, ecology, and physics, and the social studies and language covers history, government, econ, geography, grammar, writing, literature from 1st through 12th. So these are designed to help all the way through elementary, middle, and high school. Usually the first section I show is math, because like if you just think back to like middle school, high school days, that's normally the subject you get the most homework in. So, did you ever have it where like you would work on an assignment, maybe like mom or dad, and they'd know one way, and because they teach it totally different, you know a different way, and it's like tons of arguments, or maybe you know the answer, but you get graded on showing your work. So what's kind of cool here, like let's say we're doing algebra, it'll break down any particular subject with lots of examples step by step, with written in numeric explanations for every step. And then you see like method 1, method 2. So method 1 is the way parents were taught, and method 2 is the way they do it now with Common Core standards. So it just kind of helps bridge that gap and stop the argument of like, hey, that's not what the teacher said. The really cool thing too is like the examples get harder, and then even when students get into something like calculus, if they're stuck on a problem, they can actually enter the page onto the website, and then there's a video version that walks them through how to do every single problem in the book step by step, like a personal coach. Isn't that awesome?
That's really cool.
Yep.
Like maybe I need one. You sell a college one?
I know, right? Yeah, no, I use like Khan Academy and stuff in college all the time. But these are really nice because they're super short, whereas Khan Academy, and they're like 10 to 30 minutes.
No, I like that it's all written out there.
Mm-hmm. It's just a quick review. And like even for kids that do well, like I assume you do well in school, coming to Madison and everything, it's kind of nice because it puts every single formula for all of their math problems all in one section. So like every algebra equation, all the different theorems for like geometry, all in one section, so they don't have to Google 1,000 things or try to dig through a ton of chapters. It just saves time. So it kind of works the same way for every subject as well. Yeah. Like, I'm guessing you took some chemistry in high school?
I'm actually in chemistry right now.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So if I asked you to find like bromine on here in the next 3 seconds.
Wait, I think it's...
Too slow.
Yeah.
So here, it's actually alphabetical order by the element symbol. So, you know, like gold's AU, so it's going to be like that. And here, it does it by the name, too. So if they don't know the symbol, it's really easy. But can you go ahead and find bromine? It's BR.
Yep, 35.
Yep, and what color is that?
Dark green.
Yeah. So what section?
There we go. Right
Bam.
there.
Isn't that, like, quick?
Yes.
So,
That is nice.
yep. So it just kind of helps make studying a lot easier. Like when you do the test where you have to memorize elements, plus all the key information like properties, compounds, date of discovery, all in one spot too. And even for like languages and for social studies, it does the same thing. Like, did you ever? I'm guessing you took history, like U.S. history.
Oh yeah.
What would you say is generally the hardest thing to memorize in history classes?
Ooh. I'd say like the timeline.
Yeah.
When it happened.
Dates and times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of cool. For like all the major wars, we literally just make a timeline. And then they're all color coded with like who won what battle, when it happened, there's pictures. It just makes it really, really visual. So kids don't have to read through a dozen chapters trying to study it. Pretty
Really
cool?
interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So I just showed you a few sections, but can you kind of get a feel for
Yeah.
how they work? Cool. So typically when I'm sitting down with parents too, they're like, okay, it seems like something we could definitely get some use out of, but what would the price be? And generally they kind of compare it to like college textbooks since they're, you know, they cover so much education.
Yeah.
So, like parents, I mean, we're college students, so we're like basically experts in buying college books. So let's say you bought like a book even just half the size for calculus. It's usually what?
It'd be like a couple $100.
Yeah, $200-$300 easy. And that's kind of what parents are assuming too. It's like, okay, let's say they just got the 4 set because they can
Yeah.
pick and choose. And let's say it was $300 a book, then it'd be like $1,200. That's kind of what parents are thinking for, you know, and for something that's going to be an investment in their education, they usually feel pretty good about that. But the reason we do really, really well with selling these is instead of being like $300 a book, it's about $125 a book. So this set of 4 is about $510.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
So I'm a little confused. Do you have that full set for each grade level, or is it just
Nope.
6 books?
It's these 6 books, but
Okay.
they cover every grade. From first
Okay,
through
yeah,
12.
that's a really good deal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Spark Notes for school, which
Yeah,
is sound
I like that it's kind of like the bare bones. Here's the information, because that's how I study.
Yeah,
You know, when I always had my textbooks, it was kind of, you know, I don't know what's important here, but I like that
Right.
it's laid out.
it eliminates all the fluff and
Yeah.
stuff that you don't actually need for school. Yep. So, and then I know like $500 too for college student can seem like a lot, but for parents, if you just consider what they actually spend money on for their kids, like,
Yeah.
you know, basketball shoes. I play tennis. Each of my tennis rackets is a couple $100. Or I have 2 older sisters that got prom dresses every year.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of expensive for that.
Looking back and kind of regretting those big purchases now.
Exactly. Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And our suite of websites even covers like the little kids, like early reading goes all the way through 12th grade, and then it's even life skills. And so it's 6 websites, and instead of being like $100 a month, like Sylvan or Tutor Vista, similar websites, it's actually less than $1 a day. So it's just $20 a month for all 6 of those. And they can have all the kids on them too. So that's kind of why we do pretty well with selling these.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. It was funny when I first saw them, I thought the same thing you did, where I'm like, it's so nice that it's condensed there. Like, I thought it looked like cheat sheets.
Yeah.
Did you do sports and stuff back in high school? Or
A
clubs,
little
or-
bit. Yeah. A
Okay.
lot of clubs.
What were you in?
I
A lot of clubs consistent.
did Model United Nations. I was actually in a competitive marching band in
Okay.
high school. I did drama club, and I played soccer.
Okay. So you kept just as busy as you keep now?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, I did sports year round, and just like those kept me pretty busy too.
Yeah.
So like anything that would have saved time was like that looks sweet. Actually, there's students who still use this for general classes in college. I talked to a class at Oshkosh 2 years back, and a girl had our science class in her chem lecture. Like, that's cool. What about the presentation you ran through? Did that seem very difficult to explain or run through?
No. I mean, I kind of do something similar because I currently, at my tutoring job, I have to kind of promote myself as a tutor and saying how I will help students. And so I think that it might be even easier to just be like, look at this. For so much cheaper than me, you'll get all this knowledge.
Yeah. That makes sense. And that's it's cool that you have experience with that, because pretty much anything you go and do for a career, there's going to be some sort of script that they give you.
Yes.
Like, whether you're like pitching yourself as a financial advisor, or real estate agents have to pitch a house, or a doctor has to pitch somebody on giving a specific procedure. I don't with that, when you ran through it, did it sound scripted though? Even though I told you it was scripted, did it sound like it?
I mean, I was looking for it, but it was natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a lot of that just comes with repetition. Like, we flat out have people learn a script is one that gives you a lot of confidence, like knowing what you're supposed to talk about, and also it allows you to be more human.
Yeah.
Like, if you know what you're supposed to say, you don't have to sit there trying to think of how do I answer this rather than actually listening to people. Where if you have like a general outline, you can like listen to somebody and then show them how it actually applies to them too.
Yeah, and I like this program that I could see myself applying this skill set to whatever I end up going into, because that is one of my big problems, and it's kind of been holding me back from committing to something for next summer, is I don't know which major I'm leaning towards. I'm not sure exactly what I want to get into, but these skills can definitely be, I can shoot off in any direction.
Anywhere. Like that's actually a lot of students who work with. This helps solidify like what they want to go into, like helping them figure that out. And I was marketing as well back in college, and I literally picked it because it was so broad. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable committing to like accounting, because I thought accounting was just like a one-track thing, and it was. I think that I right there with you on that. I love doing something that's going to help wherever I go. And it's cool too, like for our students to do well in our program. I don't ever look for like gifted salespeople. Like, that's never a criteria. I feel like that's a learned skill, because you don't have to be a gifted salesperson to do well at this. We have a very, very laid back sales presentation. Like, what he just ran you through is basically what you run through with the family. And our students talk to about 30 families a day over the summer. And to be successful, an average student will have about 1 out of every 6 families they talk to buy something. So 30 a day, it's anywhere from 1 to 5 families will purchase something, which is a little daunting because that's a lot of no's. It's also attainable. Whereas, like, if I told students they had to have a 50% close rate, like, professional salespeople don't even do that. Like, it's usually about a third. I think I worked with one student ever who had a 50% closing rate, and he was on like his 7th summer doing this. So that's what's kind of cool. Is it's really laid back, and even in the sales presentation, we tell families like, "Hey, if you want this, get it. If not, like, don't worry about it. Like, just let them off the hook."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think we sell them? I don't think I covered that.
Where do I think?
Yeah, where do we meet up with people? Do you think? Like, if you had to get
at their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Why do you think we do that versus like PTA meetings or over the phone?
I feel like it would be a more comfortable environment. I don't know. I feel like I'd be more likely to buy something if I kind of have. I feel like when you're standing in your own doorway, you kind of feel like you have more power over the situation. It's less stressful. You know, if you wanted to, you could just shut the door on them. And so I feel like I'm more interested in, or I'm more upfront about whether or not I want to listen to a salesperson when I'm at my own home.
When you're comfortable.
Yes, because I feel like I have the option, and I could just, if I'm totally just not interested at all, I can say, you know what, like, thank you so much for stopping by, but like, please don't waste your time, like, move along. Or I can be like, oh, you know, why don't you like step in a little bit if it's cold and let's talk about it.
It's 100% why we do it. It's where people are comfortable making big decisions. So I do probably like 70% of mine just sitting on people's front porch with them. It's like if they're more comfortable out there, 30% of them I'll sit in the house with them. It's like whatever is good for the family, and it's convenient for them too. Like, instead of having to go to a PTA meeting, like, then schedule time for that. Or PTA meetings are also tough. Just like if you were to address 30 people at once and try and sell it, like, every family's going to have their individual needs. It doesn't really make sense to do a one-size-fits-all presentation. And over the phone, you can't even show a product. So that's like, you get to learn that communication aspect. And also, one of the things that's, I think, unique about that is, like, we do knock on doors, like, obviously, but we don't just go door to door to door, because that'd be a huge waste of time. Like, we work through referrals, recommendations, and we have a GPS mapping system that we refer to as a pre-approach, which helps to be more time efficient. Because, like, every community you go into, there's going to be people who don't have kids yet, like younger couples, or there's going to be people whose kids are older than high school seniors, and, like, would it make sense to talk to those people? No. So we try and save time and skip over them. And I always tell students too, like, if you can learn how to be successful at a job where you have to go and create relationships and reach out to people versus doing like a retail job where people are like coming to you with an idea, like that is a whole nother level of communication and being able to build trust with people is like you're doing the outreach.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Actually, and you saw this at the career fair. It's like this was the yearbook thing.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Like students, literally, like you'll get paid for how much work you put into it. We get paid commission on everything. So we make 40% commission on everything we sell. And you know, like most commission jobs pay.
Like 10 tops.
10 is pretty high usually. So we get 40%, and that's why it doesn't take a whole lot to be successful. Like if you sell, I think an average student will sell like $100 to $200 per family in their first summer. If you get 40% of that, you're looking at like $40 to $80 for each one. That's, you have 2 of those a day, you're making $80 to $160. You sell a $500 set, you just made $200. And like, again, $500 to a parent is not a ton of money. I think last year our top, actually we haven't even heard yet what our top rookie made last year. Our top student leader made like $87,000 over the summer, and our top rookie usually makes somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, do you need to have a car?
It's helpful if you do, but you don't need it.
Okay, I potentially would, depending on where it is. So say someone relocated here from like New York and they were going to be based in Madison and they didn't have a car that they could bring with them because they flew here, how would they be getting around?
So you live with someone who has a car. So when we relocate, we all relocate as a group, and we live with host families. So we're literally like foreign exchange kids. It's awesome. Like this last year, I was in Louisiana, and it was myself and 2 UW guys living with a host family who his son actually works with our program and was up in Michigan for the summer. So we like swap parents.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So you live with someone, they drop you off, pick you up, or like my first summer, I didn't have a car, so I rode a bike. But if a student can have a car, I always recommend it. It's super helpful with getting around, and it's a huge tax benefit because you file taxes as a business owner. I get 1099 instead of a W-2.
So
what that
you
means?
file taxes as a business owner?
Yeah. So literally any mileage you put on a car, any food you buy while we're traveling, literally if you were to go buy like a multicolored pen for taking notes at a meeting, that would count as a tax write-off because it's forward. Like if I was, even myself right now, like this is technically like running my own business. If I went and bought coffee, it'd be a tax write-off right now. So,
okay.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. And it's fun too because, like I mentioned, we have students from all over the place as far as majors. Like Christian, this is 2 years ago. He's, where's he at on here? Business management. And then you look over, like the next page, it's just like a totally random assortment of like what people want to do. Like Anthony was a mechanical engineering major. Liesel is in creative writing. I think actually, this is funny. Where's he at? Animal science, computer science, political science, international studies. Oh, and actually this is cool. These are 2 of our Madison students. Lindsay was number 12 in the world out of 1,200 students, and then Grant was number 25. I actually just met his brother this morning, who was sitting like 5 tables over there, and he saw Southwestern and introduced himself.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
He got back from the military like a month ago, so I had never met him before. Yep. And I head on with this dude too. Like, actually, this is cool. Part of the way we do business is we use social media for marketing. So, like I saw on here, you use Twitter. We use Facebook business pages. So we like shamelessly promote ourselves by taking pictures of all of our customers.
My dad has a podcast, so
really
he's been using that. Yeah.
No way. What's his podcast?
It's called In Deep with Dan.
Okay.
It's just him like talking to his friends.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't really listened to it yet. It's new because I don't know.
Is it like a business one or a faith-based one or a relationship?
I think it's kind of comedic. The
Okay.
idea behind it was like he's having a glass of wine and talking to him. That's why I haven't listened to them yet. I just haven't had the time to.
Can't do long podcasts. I like half-hour tops.
Yeah, the idea, but
Jason could listen to like a 5-hour podcast and be fine with it.
maybe you'll have to check him out, okay?
In Deep with Dan.
In Deep with Dan. Is a lot of his friends listen to it like on their commute.
Okay.
I don't have a commute, so.
Yours is walking down the street here.
Yeah, I live right down there. So.
Oh. Cool. And actually, it's funny too. Like, we use this for promoting. My mom said she likes this when I was in undergrad because it made her feel like she was still involved in my summer, even though I was gone. Because she liked every single picture. I guess the last couple things I'll hit on, because you got class 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10:45, 10:50 is probably good to get out of here.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Okay, I'll try and get you out here pretty quick because these are pretty fast. I'll go through challenges and qualifications quick. And I don't ever, like I said, apologize for the challenges because this is where a lot of that personal growth aspect comes from. And I'm pretty straightforward with them. Like, all the things that my buddy was nervous about that, like, I don't know if I want to do that, were all the same reason I was excited.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can do that, I can do pretty much anything. Long hours is the first challenge I've done. Typical work days about 8 in the morning to 9 at night, Monday through Saturday. So like 13-hour days. And makes a lot of sense, but why do you think we work after 5?
Parents are home.
Yep, same thing with Saturdays. So that's a cool one. A lot of work. That usually sticks out to future employers too. Rejection, we talked about that a little bit, but hearing no that much can be kind of emotionally draining and not taking it personally.
Oh yeah, I've done sorority recruitment.
Yeah.
Dish out and take rejection all the time.
I was gonna say that's a lot. Yeah, I guess recruitment is a lot more personal rejection than like a sales.
Oh yeah.
Because sales is just a product where it's like, I don't like you guys and your organization. Oh, okay. That's funny. I've never made that correlation talking to Greek life kids. It makes sense. Monetarily, there's no guarantees. It's all commission based. And I also tell students there's no risks though, because there's no like financial investment to be part of the program. A big reason I have to be selective is Southwestern spends about $2,000 on each student before we sell anything. And actually, students are given all their sample products. And the way we do business is you carry this all summer. Families will take orders and give you deposits for what they order. And then you use the deposit basically to pay for anything you need, like a business owner would pay themselves. And anything you don't need at that moment, you just send to the company in like a big savings account. And then it helps you save up. And at the end, you get everything shipped to you at once, deliver it to families. They give you a remainder, and you get a big check for everything you saved up. So like if you have rent you got to pay back here over the summer, you just pay that out of the money you collect too. Yeah, which is nice. And if at the end of that you have any leftover products, the reason there's no risk is Southwestern just takes them back. There's never like a year stuck with them. And I always tell students, like, even though there's no risk, there's no limits, there's no guarantees, we definitely have a blueprint that helps students do well. Like, we're 150 years old, our products are incredible. And then as far as the leaders in training, like, everybody who's in a leadership role has done this before, so knows what it takes to be successful. Like, our sales manager, Ryan's here, and this is his 14th year with the company. He started as a sophomore in college. President of our company, Dan Moore, has actually never worked for another company. He started as a freshman in college out at Harvard. And graduated 3 years with his undergrad from Harvard and has worked with us all the way through college. So, I forgot that one's on there. This one sounds kind of silly, but that was probably one of the hardest ones for me going into my first summer, is when I told my friends I was going to go be a door-to-door book salesperson for the summer. That didn't sound cool to them at all because they didn't understand why. So I had to, like, emotionally be a little okay with that.
Yeah.
Which has been funny now. Like, I've had job offers since I've graduated college without applying because of how cool what we take away looks to employers and what they're looking for. So that's just like being okay with not being the coolest person ever. Like, we even dress like college kids. Like, girls usually wear like khaki shorts and a bright colored t-shirt or polo over the summer, and guys, same thing, cargo shorts and like a v-neck. So you dress like college kids. And I don't know, I said this before, but we'd always look for students who habitually rise above challenges and turn them into advantages. And these are just random places we can recognize. And as far as what we look for, these are probably pretty self-explanatory. I look for coachable students. the system works, look for independent decision makers. I think I told you this on the phone, but we give students a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So, like, I basically greenlight everybody I work with to make mistakes as much as they're willing to put it out there. Hopefully I can help people make less mistakes than I've made in my career. If I can do that, I'm doing my job right. But I'd rather people make mistakes than worry about asking for permission on everything. Look for long-term thinkers and self-motivated and hardworking people. Like someone who I'd rather be able to give you a task and like ask a lot of you rather than have to handhold somebody through the whole process. And with any of that being said too, I still do the sales part of this, so I actually lead by going out on the field. Like even if after this year, probably my last full summer of selling, I'll still go out for a couple weeks every year with the students I work with so they can shadow and see what that's supposed to look like. Until I start turning gray, I guess. And this is kind of cool. You asked about the student leadership. So if you get invited back, you get to be in a role of helping recruit and train students. And these are a handful of our students from Minnesota and Wisconsin who recruit here. Taylor just finished his 5th year with us. This is Haley. She's the one who I was writing the letter rec for yesterday out in D.C. Corinne goes to school out in Hillsdale, Twin Cities. Kate's here at Madison. There's Jason. Hey, you changed your picture. We haven't put Tanner on there yet. And this is Grant. He's been working with us for a couple of years too. So that's kind of cool. Those are just the people that we work with. The rest of that's on there is just like a details video, but I know I usually do a pretty thorough job running through stuff. Sometimes students will still have like questions. I guess, is there any questions you have for me that I haven't hit on yet as we're running through it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I have a pretty good conceptual idea of what's going on.
I think, let me double check this. Sometimes, I didn't explain what the follow-up process looks like.
Oh, sure.
That would probably be helpful to know. They have it in here. Okay. So the way the whole process works from here on out, this is just like a cartoon version of it. I have a copy that I can let you hold on to where we did the informational meeting. Our interview process is 1 to 3 days long. It's basically for me to get to know students better and help them get to know the program better, because typically, like, whenever we let things digest, that's when we finally start coming up with questions. And so my goal is to help people make a logical choice. Like, does this make sense to pursue? And do I think you logically make sense as someone who would be a good fit for the program? If you're selected, students, like I said, there's no investment. They just have to have somebody vouch for their integrity. Sign is called a parent support letter, basically just saying you will not steal and the company can trust you with a big line of credit over the summer. There's training all throughout the school year where you get to do one-on-one training with whoever selected you, so that would be me if we ended up working together. And then we also do group training where you get to meet all the other Madison students and do training. It's about 1 to 2 hours a week during the fall around your schedule, a lot more laid back. In the spring, it's more like 3 hours a week, just since it's getting closer to summer. But it's all based around schedule. School comes first. When the school year's done, we go to Nashville for a week for training. The company pays for that. It's we get a hotel, training, train supplies, all paid for by the company. It's called Sales School. It's like a high school pep rally meets boot camp. Then that's when we head out to our sales locality. So we'll find out in the spring which state the Madison students will be going to. It all just depends on the logistics, since there's so many campuses in our program. Like how many students are with each campus, how much housing we're going to need, who has cars, who doesn't, boys and girls. So usually about March is when we find out which state.
Does it matter that I'm going abroad in spring?
Mm-hmm. Nope. Corinne did that 2 years ago, and she was in France, and we just did her training over FaceTime while she was gone.
Okay.
And then if you have like a different end date or start date the rest of the school year, we just plan for that. Okay. My friend Amanda, I'm going to the Vikings-Packer game with her here after Thanksgiving. She came back from China and had 3 less weeks than everybody else in her first year, and was the number 12 rookie in the world that year. She was just like, I didn't have time to get adjusted, so I just figured I'd just hit the ground running.
Yeah, Norway is a little different in that the final exams is the only grade you get, and so it's like a 1.5 month long exam time. And so it starts in mid-April and it ends in early June.
Okay.
And they're like, you won't know until you come here when you can leave, basically. Okay.
No, that would just take planning. It's not a big deal. And then we even get students back in time for like recruitment if you have to be here. We pre-plan for that. Then Yeah, we live with host families. Sundays we don't work. We do training during the summer on Sundays. And then we go do something fun as a group. There'll be like 20 to 50 of us, depending on how far spread out we are, that'll get together every Sunday. And I can't explain the rest. And then the incentive trip. If you do the company average in sales, there's a trip called Sizzler where you go somewhere tropical the whole week before Thanksgiving. So that's the Mexico trip that we're going on. And we actually do a service trip for a half day while we're there if students want to. It's optional. Yeah, so that's kind of the whole process. I know I already asked you about the advantage that appealed to you most earlier on. I guess going through the challenges, what part do you think would be the biggest challenge for you to overcome, or the biggest area for growth if you ended up getting selected to do this?
I think it would be the long hours.
Okay.
But then again, I'm kind of used to that now. There's nothing really that sticks out to me that would be an immediate disadvantage to the program. It's not on there, but I also worked for Target, and I signed people up for Target red cards, and that was constant rejection because I worked right after their big data breach is when I started my job, and they said, you have to ask everybody 3 times if they want a Target red card, and I was like, these people don't want Target red cards. But I still got some people to sign up, and so I don't know, nothing's immediately turning me away from this at all, but yeah, probably the long hours would be.
That makes sense. That was Haley, the girl who I mentioned who worked at AZD and I wrote the letter rec for. The hours was probably the most challenging thing for her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was different for her, doing long hours, because she's excessively busy right now between that and she does pageants too. But it's the fact that it was doing one thing for that period of time versus being 6 different things.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess, like I said, the interview process does a pretty good job of figuring out if it's a good fit or not for you. I guess if you ended up getting selected for this, is this something you could actually see yourself doing for the summer?
I could.
Okay.
I came here very unsure today, but I really liked your presentation. I think that, kind of as I was saying before, with not knowing what I want to get into, I think this would be a great way to really build on a skill set and have a meaningful experience with actual results. You can see very easily if you're doing well or not. I like that almost immediate feedback that you get from real customers saying yes or no, will I buy this, versus in marketing sometimes it's hard to measure exactly what results you're getting back because it's a less direct process. So I like that.
You can tell if you're being personable or not, if people actually want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So something I got for you. This will be helpful just as far as getting you more information. I have a couple things I work through with students. Like I said, the follow-up process is 1 to 3 different follow-ups, and it's just more so you getting more information and me getting to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So I'll have you mark a couple pages in here quick to do before the next time we follow up. So I know you said you still got a couple more midterms this week, right? Is this, or are you done
Next week?
Next week you're busy. Okay. So if you want to go in here, the couple pages I have students do before we meet up. One is I have them read this article, What You're Going to Someday Be or Now Becoming. Just underline, highlight.
Can I keep this?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is all for you to keep. That would just be what stood out to you, why do you think I had you read that? And then the other part that I'll have you do is assignment number 1 is just any questions you come up with, what would you want to take away, biggest challenge, how you see help in your future, and then everything else in here that... No, that's bonus if you want to do that. Personally, I didn't do a ton of Googling and researching before. I figured I'd just grill the people who were part of it, and I trusted my buddy Nate. Jason, on the other hand, he spent a lot of time on the internet researching it beforehand, so if that's helpful for you, that's going to be really helpful. If you're not a huge research person, then you don't have to use it. It's just an option. There's actually other things that could be helpful. There's a resume in here. if you're curious what people have taken away from our program. So it talks about Brandy's Southwestern experience on her resume.
Oh, cool.
And then actually right past assignment number 1, there is, I think it's like 5 or 6 different alumni letters in different fields. So people who wrote about like, how has this impacted what I'm doing? Like, I think there's a teacher in there. Deb is a nurse practitioner. There's someone in the financial field. Yeah. So anything that like, just what have people taken away, and then it explains the money too.
Okay.
So those will just be additional resources, and it probably like, this should take you less than a half hour to get through that stuff. If you're spending more time than that, then that's just for your own benefit.
Okay.
And I guess since you said next week is the busy week, probably make more sense to follow up sooner than later on that one, since I'm guessing the weekend's going to be crunch time for studying, and yeah.
And Halloween.
Oh, that is next week. Okay. Well, I guess what's your schedule for tomorrow look like? My follow-ups are usually yeah. The follow-ups are usually only about half hour, 45 minutes too. It's more of just like answering questions.
I'm thinking.
So I actually fly out Saturday for New Mexico as well. So that's a good thing that our schedules overlap. When you're busy, I'm flying out. I need to get more stickers for my computer.
My stickers are so basic.
You have a Starbucks one on there?
I don't.
We actually, our team name 2 years ago was the Basics, because our group was like, we wanted to be focused on fundamentals. That was Haley's first year.
Yeah.
And she suggested that our team shirts have Starbucks logos on it. And
That was
they
her
did.
suggestion.
Huh?
That was her suggestion.
Uh-huh. Like basic white girls. I tried to get them to make maroon shirts too, but the group wouldn't bite on that one.
And I also took off some of the edgier ones because I work with kids now and I didn't want to like be political or anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Once the parents like, what are you doing?
I'm trying to influence my child.
Okay. I'm a little late to class. It's not the worst thing. It's a huge lecture.
Okay. Which one are you heading to next?
Count.
Who do you have?
Hooker.
Hooker.
He's British.
He's newer, isn't he?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I think I've met Hooker, but I'm not totally sure on that one.
Okay, so here's all the important stuff, school and work. So I could do, can you see this?
You tilt it down.
I could do,
Anytime after 4, it looks
yeah,
like.
otherwise this is very, if you have availability on Friday, that would probably be better, because I would have a lot of time to like dress. Because this is movable. I kind of set my own hours for this job.
Okay. Actually, I think our schedules overlap pretty well, because my earlier day is pretty busy tomorrow too. And my last thing I have booked right now ends at 4:30. So we could always do after your lecture. Then
Yeah.
would that work? You just want to do, we could do like 5 o'clock, and that would give you time after class if you wanted to finish up the assignment or swing
Yes,
home in between.
that would be perfect.
Okay, let's do that then. And let's just do, does over here work for you again?
Yeah.
Okay, this would probably be most convenient, because I think this is where I'm meeting Adina tomorrow for our informational meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
One. Cool. And I'd say just make sure you have that done. Since I've already got your resume, you don't need to worry about bringing another one.
Okay.
And actually, I think I mentioned this to you too. I'm going to be reaching out to student organizations and like allowing people within organizations to recommend people who might be a good fit. And actually, when I talk to Greek organizations, I usually talk to treasurers more than anything else, because a lot of times you guys know which students tend to work through college and have the work ethic that like need to. So if you even wanted to, in any of our follow-ups, bring like the roster of like girls you think might be a good fit and recommend them, I always offer that out too. And I'll bring, I have some information I could probably pass out to you for your orgs that could be helpful, like speaker bios if you guys do like personal development or anything within the organization. The business school had us develop some trainings that we offer to Greek orgs and business organizations. Oh, and this is last.
Having me pick my own competition. Oh no.
That was actually usually students who end up getting involved with a friend do a lot better because of the competition. there was 3 years ago, out of the 5 top rookies in the entire company, 3 of them were roommates over the summer.
Aww.
And 2 of them grew up together. And they were number 1 and number 2 rookies in the world. And it was like because of how competitive they were.
Yeah.
I was going to say, last thing I always mention to students, have you ever heard of an emotional roller coaster before, or a W curve?
Yes.
Okay. I'd say that probably happens about half the students I talk to about our program. Personally, I did not deal with it. When I heard about Southwestern, I more dealt with the emotional roller coaster beforehand of even deciding to go hear about it. But like when I heard all the benefits and my buddy was like, hey, you probably do well, but not as well as me, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do well. I know one of the girls I worked with previously, actually, I'll keep mentioning Haley because I've referenced her before. When she went through her interview process, it was definitely like she got excited about all the benefits, but before her first day follow-up, almost ended up canceling it because she was so nervous with other stuff she had pre-planned that it wouldn't fit. Like she was in pageant. She was like, well, how do I make that fit over the summer? Like, well, we can talk about it. I answered all her questions, covered that, and she was really excited by the end of that interview. And kind of throughout her whole process, she was like back and forth from like, this sounds awesome to, I don't know if I can handle it, and until we finally got to just a logical point, and it made sense for her to come do this. So my goal with you is to help get to a logical point if this makes sense. So if you're like me, where you're just excited and like, hey, I for sure want to do this when you meet up day 1, that's normal. If you're a little bit nervous, that's normal too. The only thing I tell students is just make sure you're here. I've had one student before who like texted me before their follow-up because they felt like they were the only person who's ever felt that way before. I'm like, no, only way I waste my time is if I schedule it and I don't meet up with somebody. So for sure, just make sure you're here, and wherever you're at on that, I'm just going to help you get to a logical point and get to know you a little better. Sound good?
Yeah,
Cool.
sounds
It
great.
was good seeing you again. Yes,
Nice to
ma'am.
meet you.
Have fun
You too.
in
I liked your
class.
pitch.
Oh, his?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's gotten better. You seem a lot less fidgety than the last time I saw that.
Yeah, that's good.
Get one for my sister.
Yeah. What grade's she going into?
She's a 7th grader right now.
Nice. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, you guys got a big gap.
Yeah. My dad didn't want a 3rd, but my mom did, so they fought about it for a while. And then,
Oh, so you're middle child
I'm the
syndrome?
oldest.
You're the oldest.
yeah, so it's me. And then my sister is a sophomore here. So
Okay.
I'm a junior, so we're 20 months apart.
Then 7th grade.
Actually, so this is good. She was an accident. So
So-
the middle one was an accident.
Oh.
They wanted a second one. It just
Surprise.
like happened faster than they anticipated. And then the 3rd one
Usually it's the
disagreed. I know.
later one. My dad was an accident. And he's 7 years younger than his next sibling and 18 years younger than his
Yeah,
oldest.
no, everyone always assumes they're like half sibling. I'm like, no. We didn't know if we wanted a 3rd.
She was adopted. We shipped her in from FedEx when we wanted another one. Oh. Cool. Well, have fun in class, and I will see you
you.
tomorrow then.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah.